Hello, winners, and welcome once again to the Wrong Button Podcast, the podcast where we talk all things nerd, most things video games, and generally anything that suits our fancy. Mrs. Play.
Hi, everyone.
Are you ready to go beyond the Carjusundum, to escape from Mother's Embrace?
Deploying Mother's Embrace.
And go out past the cut?
Far, far, far away.
To the...
Away. I'm sorry.
To the West?
To the West!
The Forbidden West?
The Forbidden West.
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome.
We're gonna go see the Golden Gate Bridge. What's left of it.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it was part of the promo trailer.
Everything in the promo trailer, like the dragons,
so much.
the dragons, the turtles, the tremor
storms.
Yeah, and you're like the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm like, really?
Yeah, that's as far west as we're gonna go, and then maybe even like onto the sandy beach because we can swim underwater now.
We can.
Can't wait for that shit.
Can't wait for that at all.
Welcome, so pretty.
Welcome to the Horizon Zero Dawncast, everybody.
I'm not excited about this at all.
Do a little bit of housekeeping real quick.
Okay.
So one
Rules.
for those of you who are watching this on YouTube or listening to it on YouTube, congratulations! You guys get to watch the Red Maw quest line. I'd been talking about this for a while, that when we finally got to doing this podcast on Horizon Zero Dawn, especially now that Horizon Forbidden West is coming up, I was like, oh, I'll do a quest line or something, and you guys can watch that. And I actually fulfilled that promise. So I went and hunted Red Maw and the Stormbird and the other birds and the other Thunderjaws and pretty much everything else to lead up to him. So you get to watch that entire quest line. So if you hear us go, ooh, ah, hopefully that's the point where I'm doing something cool and it's not just me singing a menu crafting.
I'm like, ah.
Someone's watching this. This is an ooh and ah moment. But yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn, the other part of it is Mrs. Play and I are not going to spoil Aloy's story.
There's a hashtag plot twist.
Because, one, I thought it was really good. Two, if you're a scientist like Mrs. Play, in the first, 3 hours of the game, when it gets revealed that there's something different about Aloy, you're like, oh yeah, that's what it is.
He's like, nuh-uh. And I'm like, yeah, huh?
Nuh-uh.
I'm right.
And
anyway.
She was right. Yeah, this is probably one of our...
It's my favorite.
I was
just going to cut to I love this game the most. Of all the games, this one's my favorite.
I was going to go with this is probably the first hour game. Where you and I...
Oh, you are our?
Yeah, our.
Okay.
You are. Okay. Where we did do Horizon the Frozen Wilds when it came out.
Got our asses kicked.
We did a Let's Play of that. We will probably do a first look at Horizon Forbidden West because we're both incredibly excited. But generally after that, this game is something that you and I sit down and play and enjoy and explore.
Yeah. So it's not that we don't want to share it with you guys. It's just that I don't want to have to talk and observe. I would rather just watch and gush. And you can only hear me say, oh my God, it's so pretty. Like so many times before we start losing viewers.
I mean, to be fair, I think I'm the one that goes, it's so pretty.
Yeah, but both of us doing it. Sorry for blowing out your mic, everyone.
It would be charming and endearing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but after the 8th time.
They would look forward to the 9th.
Okay.
Anyway.
Debatable. Anyway.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about Horizon Zero Dawn because, as Mrs. Play said, it's definitely one of my favorite games I've ever played. From a story, from a world building, all of that. All of that is just so exceptionally well done.
Yeah. How long did it... I'm sorry to interrupt. How long did it take the Guerrilla developers to develop this game?
Hello, winners, and pardon the interruption. This is a quick editor's note over here. At this point, we are talking about when Horizon Zero Dawn started development. After double-checking facts and resources online, Mrs. Play was actually more correct than Mr. Play here. The game started being developed in 2011, shortly after Killzone 3 had wrapped. We did not see our first glimpse of it until 2015, about 2 years before the game was put out. So the game, by these calculations, was roughly in development for about 5 to 6 years. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, because there was a YouTube trailer video that you'd sent me. It wasn't a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 14 minutes long, and it was like the evolution of Horizon Zero Dawn, and like legit, they were doing stuff back in. You said like 17 years. I was thinking like, I remember 2004 like distinctly when they're like early concept. And I'm like, I mean, it was excellent graphics for the.
No, 2014.
I don't remember.
You said 2004.
I remember a 4 being in the numbers, so I picked 2004. And you said 17 years ago, so I was trying to make your math work.
Oh, so this has been a game that they have been working on for years, but we didn't see it until after you and I think were already like moved in, is when they really started releasing stuff for it. They had teased it that Guerrilla had talked about like making a game that wasn't Killzone, because that's previously what they've been known for, would have been the Killzone games. Or Shell Shock Vietnam and a few others back on the PS2, PS3 era when they were making a lot of first-person shooters. But Horizon Zero Dawn is like a flagship for the PS4. Just technically, I think is one of their most brilliant games, and I'm so appreciative now of when I play Killzone or go back and play those, because there are points in those games where I'm like, I see how that translated to Horizon Zero Dawn.
You can see the influence.
And I'm incredibly excited. But yeah, they've been working on it for better part of a.
I was gonna say easily over a decade, 15 years.
Yes.
So to see like some of that early concept art and designs, like early models of the game, to like what you get as the final product, what we know as Horizon Zero Dawn. It's astounding. Mm-hmm. The color, the thoughts, all the little details. I gained particular what's the word I want? Interest, gratification, insight in. There's the art of Horizon Zero Dawn. It's a hardback book, and so you get to, as you flip through the pages, just really admiring the little intricacies and details that they put on, like the Nora hunting lodge cabins, for example. Like these braided knots were influenced from these indigenous cultures, and just like adding the wear and the lived-in feel, and like the way that the colors were chosen, the way that the braids were done. Like it was so intentional, and it really just helps you like get a sense of place and identity of the different cultures as you're traversing across the map.
I believe I was double checking. I believe it's all supposed to be different because in Utah the Navajo were the predominant tribe.
Okay.
So I think it's supposed to be depending on where that tribe of Navajo people
were. The Navajo Nation.
So it's when you're up with the Nora, it's one look.
Okay.
Because it's more wooded. Then you go down to where the Karja are, and I think they're going for the because the city's built on a spire. And there's
a cliff,
there's a subsect where you see the Navajo like build their homes in the sides of a cliff that doesn't get as much sun to protect them from the heat, because it's more, I don't want to say barren, but like
no, it's a desert.
Okay, thank you. I was like, I don't know if
say that. It's a desert.
And then of course when you go to the cut, you get to the Banuk, they wear a lot of blue. It's snowing.
They did some weird body mod that freaked me out.
Oh, when you start to get to Silence and all of...
Well, yeah, but even with like the other Banuk, aside from Silence, but just their
shamans?
Yeah, with like the blue tubes coming out. Like it just makes me think antifreeze, and it completely freaks me out. It can be like I was like uncomfortable trying not to like claw at my skin. Like to me, it was too close to like body horror, and it wasn't even horror. But I'm just like, nope.
Yeah,
it's a hard no for me. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
It was definitely I'm excited to see where it's going to go with body modifications going forward, because I think that's going to be how they start to really go like, the only way to fight the machines is to like be become a machine. I'm waiting for somebody to kind of hit that route.
I hope not.
I'm expecting at least one. But we follow the story of Aloy, who is voiced by Ashley Burke from Hey Ash, What You Playin', is for those of you who are like early YouTube days. And she is part of the Nora, who are she is an outcast of the Nora, which are the tribe in the, I'm going to say like northern part of the game, and that we probably move more south.
They're in like the southern easterish part, and we go north and west.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're down here,
and
then you go up. Okay, and cut, and then
yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry.
You're in a mountainous valley.
Bryce Canyon.
It's snowing on one side and the desert on the other side.
I don't think that's exactly how America's laid out, but I could be wrong.
Bet. Bet. So the Nora are a more reclusive, matriarchal culture, very spiritual. I don't know, what else do you want to say about the Nora?
They are, I would say, definitely more hunting.
Yeah, very, very hunter-gatherer, very more animal skins. The machine parts are only used as small tools.
Weaponry, like arrows, things like that.
Fix your arrowheads, maybe some slight armor for like your personal body, but not a lot of integration with machine culture. Machines are to be feared and kept a distance from. I
was trying to actually picture all the different, there's a defender, so the main character, of course, you can get different armor sets for her. And I think the Defender one, it looks like the ISA uniform from Killzone, the good guys from Killzone. But I think that is still Nora. I could be wrong. But that's the only one. It literally looks like somebody took the breastplate off of a machine and just slapped it on their chest and kind of tightened it. But you're right, and then you go west. West, yes, okay. Sorry, I'm looking at the map in my head, and I've got all the icons of all the things we need to connect. And you go to the Karja, who are in the more desert area, and they have very complex irrigation. They have farmland. They have it was at one point a sprawling empire, and then
lots of trade.
A lot of trade.
Impressive architecture.
Yeah, honestly, some of the way it's laid out, because there are a couple mysteries that you have to solve where you go to, I want to say compounds, but the only word I can kind of think is like plantation-esque areas where you go to someone's house and it's not in the main city, but like it's like, this is where the servants live, and it like it's an entire compound almost.
Okay.
And they talk more along the lines of like gentry. And you
there's an aristocracy, there's an upper class and the everybody else.
Yes. And getting to see that, and then of course the Banuk, who were they were the other more reclusive tribe, which you said with like the modifications, and their shamans looked really, really cool. And then also the Osram.
Yes.
Who we get to see more of in Forbidden West, because we actually get to go to our Osram town.
Nice.
And here all we get to know is that they're great metallurgists. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Okay. They're great forgers and metallurgists. But yeah, I felt the game covers, it gives you different people that will respond to you differently, or it'll give you different cultures that will respond to Aloy differently, the main character, as well as how she will perceive and respond to them.
Yeah, the developers of the game did a really excellent job of giving you a sense of place as you traversed across the map, and just like the geopolitical factions, and a sense of culture, and as you said, like as Aloy would interact with the Karja, her perception of them would shift and become more nuanced, which I really appreciate. Just like as like an individual character design, like that she grew, not just like, oh, we see like little Aloy when she's 10 to 17, early 20s Aloy, but that her opinions shifted and that they became more nuanced, and that she had a very strong sense of right and wrong, but she kept her curiosity and she was mature. She wasn't sexualized. I love Aloy. What do you love about Aloy?
I like that we get to follow Aloy from literally
like 10
birth.
Oh yeah, we see her briefly when she's like an infant.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts is how she reacts to her own culture. As I said, she's part of an outcast that she was born into. So she actually didn't do anything that got her shunned from her tribe. It was just, you're an outcast, and it's never explained to her.
Why do these people hate me?
And they have strict rules, like an outcast can't talk to anyone, not another outcast. So at one point, there's an older woman who's also an outcast. And Aloy is like, hey, I brought you your food. And she goes, I have to say thank you to the spirit of the mountain for providing for me. And it was kind of one of those things where it's like, or you could just turn around and say thank you to me because I brought it.
Yeah, no, she's appropriately snarky. I'm okay with it.
And then she says, if the mountain could be so kind, I'm not as like strong as I used to be. I left my prayer beads, and then you go get like the prayer beads so she can continue penance. But then of course you run into the first merchant, the first guy who like can sell you stuff, and he sells you stuff like on the slide. She's like, why do you deal with like an outcast? And he goes, look, you're discreet, and as long as you bring me money, that's all I really care about.
I appreciate the honesty.
And that's probably, if you rush through it and don't do any of the side quests, I feel like you miss those nuances of Aloy's like own struggle dealing with her own culture.
Yeah.
Because you can blitz to the like main quest line. You're in the town. You're doing the thing.
Yeah, she's fiercely independent and self-sufficient. I realize I said like the same thing twice, but she is both of those things, and it's because she was raised as an outsider to her culture. So when main quest events start happening, it's easier for us as the game players to like, for Aloy to leave, not be like, oh, but how could I ever leave? And I'll come back someday. I'll miss you. Never forget me. She's like, dope. I'm out. I'm going to go do this thing. Like, got some revenge to take care of.
Oh yeah,
giving me main quest energy, and she goes off. And I mean, she's been like adrift her entire life. So now that she's in a foreign culture to boot, like a stranger in a strange land, but also even when she was in Mother's Embrace in Nora territory, she was a stranger.
Stranger in a strange land is a good way to put it, but she never feels shook when she goes to another culture. Like, she's like, okay, this is just another group of people that are going to treat me a specific way because I'm
place
Nora.
New rules. I'm an outsider. There are rules.
Yep, and it's just like, all right, here we go. What are your rules? And it's very like blasé, where she's just,
there's an ear reference.
Yeah. And I really appreciate that because, as you said, it makes her more reliable in her self-sufficiency, where it's not, she comes somewhere and it's like, hey, we'll accept you, and her, like, everything that made her strong kind of gets washed away as she becomes part of this culture.
Absolutely.
And I think that was handled well. I also think that because there's a point where she has a father figure who's raising her, teaching her how to be she sees, go back, we first get to play as Aloy at about 10 years old. She falls in and sees people that are running these trails, and the trails are what you use to practice to become a brave, to do the trials that allow you to like join your culture.
Yeah, it's like coming of age.
And she goes, you know what, I want to do that. And he sits there and looks at her and goes, I can make it so you can. We will train you in this way. And you get to see the father figure watch her grow. And when she realizes what this means of, I can become part of my culture, I can join this community, he's also an outcast, and he looks at her and goes, you don't understand. I won't be at our home when you go back to look for me. You will be part of that culture. I will not be.
Yeah, I'm not welcome back.
And it's gut-wrenching when you have to have that conversation, because of course it gives you like a dialogue tree, like, do you take this in a logical approach, do you do it emotionally? And I think the final one was like anger almost.
Yeah, lashing out.
And that is it's the only time where we ever really see Aloy go, no, I am tied to this specific, like, yes, I'm self-sufficient, yes, I have this, but I also, like, I do have a form of loyalty to this person who has been nothing but gracious with his time and gave me something even though I didn't know what I was asking for. So yeah, I thought that I don't want to ruin how that quest line goes, because it's touching and it sparks how the rest of the game is. But I think her all of her interactions with Rost, who is her
father figure.
Yeah, her father figure. They are all incredible. I think they are some of the probably
he's very tender.
Yeah. And then I love the transition as she's running. She runs like across platforms, which is the obstacle course, and you watch her run and fall, and then as she gets to the end of it, the final jump, she like tucks and rolls, and you have the Aloy you will play as.
Yeah.
And I thought that was I enjoy transitions. I do love a good transition. Speaking of transitions, should we transition into, because we know who Aloy is, we know that there are other cultures. Should we transition to where are we actually? Because we've said Bryce Canyon.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, that's Utah. That
is Utah. The game takes place in the, I think you said earlier, like 1,000 years, the far-flung.
Yeah, far-flung future. So it's like, the year 2100 and some change.
3,100?
Yeah, that's how numbers work.
Yeah.
Jesus. This is why I do my math in Excel and don't do math in my head.
And one of the
No, that was embarrassing. I'm sorry. It's going to take me an extra second.
The game does a good job at subverting you to where you are and what's actually going on.
There's a lot of mystery. You're like, where am I? When am I?
And I would say comfortably, it's not until about 4 to 5 hours into the game that you really go.
Maybe we're just really slow at the game. Did it take that long? You're like rattling this off by time. And I'm like, is it really? I know it might be. It's a long game.
It is a long game.
And if you're doing all the quests
and talking to everyone, dialogue,
like you're supposed to.
Your significant other's like, no, go over there. No, that way.
Turn around.
No, the other around.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Stop moving. You're 3 o'clock. Okay. Nope.
Your other 3 o'clock.
Right. Like, why are you so bad at this?
So yeah, I could easily see it with all of those things in mind. Being 4 to 5 hours.
When you put it that way.
Into the game. When you're playing as child Aloy, the same sequence before you start running the Brave course and watch her, transition. She falls into a pit?
Yeah, relic of a building, cave system.
Yeah. And it's very innocuous when you start, because you see the caves, and the caves look overgrown, and you can see some stalactites, some stalagmites, and then
slippery, cold, wet, dark.
Yeah. And then you start walking, and you see like a handrail. You're like, that's kind of weird, but whatever. And then you continue walking a little bit more, and there's like metal grating and
doors,
computers.
Yeah.
The doors at first, I was like, this could be spaceship doors. Like, we could be on Ringworld. We could be...
You're so much more immersed in those other cultures and just, like, awareness of the possibilities. I'm like, nah, we're very clearly on Earth. This is ancient. What are we looking at here?
They could have done, like, so Gears of War does instead of Terra, they call it Sarah, and that's the name of their planet. So they could have very easily been like, here's the planet you're on, not Earth.
Right. Yeah, you make a good point.
And then you walk into one of the rooms, and there's like a PDA and an HP computer. And it's not like Aliens where it's like wingdings, nothing got past the 1980s. It's like, no, I think...
I recognize that stuff.
Yeah, that's Mrs. Play's computer right there. That's weird.
Yeah.
And
it really gets you like start thinking like, when am I?
Oh, yeah.
What happened here?
Mm-hmm.
If this is old, when? How? What? Yeah. The mystery deepens.
And that very quickly became my my favorite point of this was, okay, it's very Last of Us where it's like nature's reclaiming, and it's like it's not the bombed out future where it's like gray, all the nukes fell. It's colorful, it's vibrant, it's overgrown,
it's eroded.
Yeah. That's something you don't think about when you get to the future. It's just like, no, the buildings will still be there, just be vines on them. No, you're right.
Oh no, that was covered in like a couple like Discovery Channel miniseries. Like, what happens if all the humans disappeared today? And it would do like quick sidebar. It would show you like after a week, after a month, after 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 100 years into the future. And it's like the Hoover Dam has broken. New York is like half submerged. New Orleans is gone. Here are all these vines and these plants. Deer are wandering around like I Am Legend in the middle of the street.
Ooh.
It was a lot like that. I have seen these things because your wife is a nerd.
Someone watched a lot of Nat Geo as a kid.
I did.
Yeah.
I thought they did a great job.
They did. And your father figure, Ross, like, looks at you and is like, get out of there. You don't belong. That's the old world. They're dead for a reason.
The old ones. They done goofed.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they're dead.
Yeah, that's I just now put that together. I've played the game like 4 times, and he actually says, like, we don't talk about the old ones. Because... Or Bruno. Except we're going to talk about Bruno. We don't talk about them. They had to have done something horrible because they're just not around.
Yeah, they did something that was so awful, cataclysmic, that they were wiped.
And then you get to be introduced to the machines, and that the machines are part of the ecosystem. Most games, like, the machines come in and they're destroying everything, and in this they serve a purpose. And as you go through the game, you learn, well, these machines are actually, tilling the land, and you watch them till and fertilize,
spread seeds, clean water, all of that.
Yeah, and it's like, but they look like deer, or they look like bison, the goddamn rock breaker mole thing, and then you get like
the angry chicken. The angry chicken was angry. Some of them look like bugs. Like there's one that kind of looks just like a really ugly beetle with a big butt.
Oh, like the Scarab Walker.
Yeah.
That has the container on the back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beetle butt.
And then you have dinosaurs. Like it's clearly a T-Rex. Like I don't care. It's a T-Rex.
Yep, it's the Red Ranger's dinosaur.
It
Zord.
is.
Zord is the word that I wanted.
It is a Zord.
It's a Zord.
There was a Twitter post that said Horizon Zero Dawn is the best Zoids game they've ever played, and I was like, yeah, I can see that too. But yeah, and it goes into what a lot of the machines do, because the Aloy gets what's known as a focus, which is a hair clip.
It's a guitar pick.
Oh yeah, a
little triangle.
It sits on her temple and or ear. I'm saying that because it does seem to shift.
Yeah, and it allows her to interact with her environment differently than everyone else, so she can see the path that the machines are taking in advance, or like where they've just stepped. It allows her, like when she sees a new machine, the focus will tell her what it is and what its weaknesses are, so that way you can like take that shit down. When you have defeated a machine, you can go up and like start scavenging for important parts, and the focus will tell you like what those parts are. and what their uses could be.
Yes. And for that part, it is gameplay contrivances, because...
Say contrivance. It hurts me. I was enthralled. Chris is like, that's because you're cute. And you don't play a lot of games.
You're the cute one.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But it justified itself.
Yeah, she learns. And it makes her even more of an outsider.
It does. And for her, so what happens is after she goes to the matriarchs, and they get to run what's known as a proving, and that is where all the seniors of high school get to run an obstacle course
for their coming of age quest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
winner gets their wish granted.
Yes. They get a boon, and it can be anything they actually
whatever you ask for.
And
you get to be top of your class, you get your wishes granted.
Yeah. And even if I think you're top 3, you get to become a Brave of the Menorah, is kind of how it was explained, except for Aloy, because of circumstances that involve them all being attacked when they're running this
proving.
The matriarch goes, "Hey, look, we're gonna make you a seeker. We've only had like 2 of those ever, and you are allowed to go out past
our borders
and into the other world." And that's where you get to start seeing the other cultures, the Ostrom, the Karja, and you get to see just how expansive this area is. And with Forbidden West coming out, while the game is Horizon Zero Dawn is large, the world now gets to get much bigger. So I'm excited for that.
Definitely. Yeah, going from like a reclusive culture to let's go as far west as we can before we hit water is really exciting. I cannot wait to see what happens to Aloy's power armor. Spoiler, she gets like, I don't know.
She gets like Master Chief armor.
Yeah, like can't kill me armor. And is impervious to so many things. So like, what happens to that? Because she doesn't have it in the trailers. And the new machines and the new cultures. Like, we fought bandits in the first game. And I don't want to say there's necessarily like, oh, they're all bandits. Like, no, these are other cultures or the kingdoms or the chiefdoms. There's nuance there. It's less of a democracy. It's a, like, I'm the biggest and the baddest, and I'm, you keep what you kill kind of thing. And we haven't seen that so far in the game. And I can't wait. And also all of the new machines. There are so many new machines. And guys, we're going to get to swim underwater, and we get to traverse, like, Spider-Man style a little bit. There's, like, some, like, I want to call it like slinging because my brain's just like on Spider-Man.
No, you have like a grappling hook.
Thank you.
By the way,
that's the proper word.
I think that's where the power armor goes.
Okay.
Because if you watch the trailer when she like does her parachute.
Oh yeah, she has like a gliding ability.
I think it's literally she took apart the power armor.
I'll allow it.
And that's why
I was wondering.
It's gone.
I was wondering how they were going to explain that reset. Yeah. Like how are you going to justify that?
You, at the end of the game,
she woke up and it was stolen. That shit's lame. Do better. That better not be it. I'll be so mad.
There was a in Horizon Zero Dawn, there was a side quest where you had to find power cells, and if you found enough power cells, you could go back and unlock. It was called Shield Weaver armor, and it was the armor the military used of the Ancient Ones.
Yeah,
and it in the base game. So if you were playing Horizon Zero Dawn, it made the final fight. It made a lot of it very easy. When we started playing Horizon Frozen Wilds, which was the expansion, the game didn't fucking care.
No, yeah,
it still kicked our ass.
We got stomped a lot.
So it was a really fun collectible to find.
It looked really cool.
It did. For her, it looked like she just integrated it. But I also loved that some of the armor, like the Karja armor, it looked more integrated because, as you said, when we're in the Mother's Embrace, the what's your tribe? I just lost the name of it. The Nora tribe. It's animal skin. There's not a lot of armor.
It's rudimentary.
But then you go to the Karja, and it shows off Aloy's glorious, like, break a stick across me core that she has, but also, like, wrapped across her vitals is almost plated, or scale mail, I would guess would be the best way to put it. And that wraps around it, but it's still like, oh, they're in the desert, so we're not just going to put you in a suit of armor because dehydration and die.
You'll die of heat exhaustion.
But that was fantastic. Let's talk about Silence.
Okay. He's a bad guy.
He's an antagonist. I'm not going to say he's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy.
But he is actually played by Lance Reddick. And for those of you who don't know, he is the concierge of John Wick's Continental. Or the Continental in John Wick.
Chris is like, I knew that voice.
Oh my god, I can't watch John Wick anymore.
I know.
Like, I can't trust you!
Yep.
Armor
Say
piercing.
more.
So, Silence, Nora has a focus, and when she goes out
Aloy.
Aloy has a focus, and when she is right before the proving, she runs into somebody else, and people who have the focus can see the focus on somebody else. It's kind of like a beacon, except his glows orange where hers like blue.
Yeah, it's like a cyan.
And she tries to talk to him about it, and she goes on this quest to find other people that also have focuses. And it ultimately leads her to someone named Silence, who is where Mrs. Play, I think, really got her like body modification horror. Because for him, he has
his own agenda.
Yes, and kind of got kicked out of his own religion for going too far into the realm and the world of the old ones. And wanting to not just like study and understand the machines, but control. And it leads to what automatically becomes the finish, because the game kind of presents itself of the story could end with the same cataclysmic results that the old ones went through.
Yeah, that befell them. And
you learn that he's like, I just want to be able to control that cataclysmic result.
And yeah, no, he wants power. It's just power.
Because at one point in the game, you're talking to him, and it's like, well, you wouldn't do it again. He goes, oh, knowing what I know now, of course I would do it again. I would just put in more like safeguards to protect myself.
Yeah, you even like he's given an opportunity to like
atone for your sins.
Yeah, and he's like, no, I'd 100% do it again.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's why I'm like, you're a bad guy. But no, he's an antagonist, as you said, with just his own agenda, and he's very secretive with his information. Suspicious, intelligent.
Yes.
Fiercely intelligent. And I don't know, he gives me just wants to watch the world burn kind of vibes.
Probably one of my favorite points of like, because you get to see how he relaxed with Aloy, and then also other people, not necessarily saying like underlings or people beneath him, but just
equals. What are you trying to say? I don't think he relaxed with Aloy, so I'm curious what you mean.
For instance, they're a group of people that what they do is they forage, they're like archaeologists into the realm of the old ones. But they go there to get and he says they just want trinkets, and they come back with like literally like world's best dad coffee mugs. They're like from the realm of the old ones. And he meets Aloy, and Aloy's capable, and Aloy understands and comprehends. So when he's dealing with Aloy, I think there's a point here where he's trying to toe that line of, let me give you enough information to string you along, but I have to be very, very careful because unlike everyone else, you're like, no, I want to understand what's going on here, and you're capable of it. whereas everyone else is just trinkets, like old one, yay!
World's best dad.
Yeah, world's best dad,
A can opener.
And Aloy is very capable of understanding.
Yeah, she's not a fool.
And
Silence recognizes and respects that.
Yes. So when you get to see him interact with people who are the fools versus Aloy, I enjoyed that juxtaposition of like just how intelligent he is, and that he, I believe by the end of it, feels he has to contend with Aloy, not just like, I'm the antagonist and I'm gonna push you to grow better. He's like,
mysterious voice.
Yeah, he's like, no, you're literally getting stronger.
Yeah, you're a threat. And I don't appreciate that.
Yes. But I greatly, I loved that. The machine designs.
I was wondering when we were going to get to them. Like, we've talked a lot about Aloy. Talk to me about machines.
So prior to Horizon Zero Dawn, Guerrilla had their flagship title, I would say, would have been the Killzone games. In Killzone 3 and especially Killzone Shadowfall, Guerrilla began showing off drones in those games, and the drones, especially for the enemy, looked monstrous. And so now that it was like, hey, we're in Horizon, seeing those designs and like, oh, I see exactly where in Killzone this felt like proof of concept, and then in Horizon was this wonderfully executed machine that worked well, and when you ran into it, you're like, oh, you are horrifying. Like the first time you saw a Thunderjaw, it's a T-Rex, guys. It is a cannon-toting T-Rex. And it roars at you, and some of the machines screech and wail. It comes together in a way that like is almost bone chilling. And I love it. My favorite machine, I think, of the entire game is still the tall neck.
I agree. The tall neck is definitely my favorite. It's benign. It's really, really, really big. There are plushies of it. I love it.
The tall neck for gameplay stance is it's a Brontosaurus.
It's like a giraffe. It's like a giraffe with like a disc head.
Yeah, you know the planes that have the radar on the top of them.
Yep, the spy surveillance planes.
Yeah. It literally looks like they stuck one of those on top of a. You said giraffe, and now I'm kind of bummed because I thought Brontosaurus was cooler, but giraffe. It's a giraffe with a giant like radar on its head, and you get to climb up there, and that's how you get to uncover more of the map and find more of the secrets. And you just watch them walk. They typically walk a path of a circle, and it is by far like the absolute like my favorite sequence to watch in that game, and my favorite design.
What's your favorite like combat class machine? Or which one? Yeah, which one stands out to you the most?
The ones that stand out to me the most, I'm going to say they're the ones from Frozen Wilds, which is either the Frost Claw or there was one that was like a Timberwolf.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And then there was the Bear.
Yeah.
And they were in the base game, you fought a lot of herbivoristic.
Yeah, like herbivore-looking machines. So they are the ones that look like deer, the ones that look like chickens, the one that looks like a buffalo or something. They were the ones that were more like cleaning the environment.
Yes.
Or like recycling broken down machines.
Yes.
Like foraging class. I don't know what to call that.
Yeah, I mean, like you had the snap maws, which were the alligators, and then you had the bellowbacks, which were, I don't know what those were, but they were. They were cool to fight. They were interesting, but when you fought any of the other like more herbivoristic herding ones, they would charge at you. They would run away, and they behaved in this very simple pattern. But when you got to the Frozen Wild and you fought the Timberwolf looking one, you fought the Frostclaw. Like it was like a bear that was lunging at you.
It was like a grizzly.
And a giant Kodiak looking motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Scary.
but it was faster, and it was I felt more vicious. Because even the Thunderjaw to me, it was like, okay, you're gonna shoot at me. If I knock this off, you're gonna run forward and swing your head. Yeah.
As opposed to Malice.
Yes.
I didn't even. So when I asked that question in my combat class, the ones that stand out to me are like the Shell Walker. It looks like an angry crab.
Yeah, the crabs. Yep.
Yeah. Or even like the Deathbringer at the end of the game, where I'm just like, you were just here, like, because it's called a Deathbringer. It's called a Deathbringer.
Oh, it's like the bosses that you fight like 3 ways in.
Yeah, it was like towards the end you fought a Deathbringer.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
and just those type frightened me the most. And I think that's why I liked them the most. Was just because like they are machines of war. It's not like, oh, you look like a deer. It's like, you look like something that could be created in the not too distant future by defense contractors.
Yeah, it gave you very Terminator-esque vibes.
Definitely.
But when I say Terminator, guys, I want you to picture the beginning of Terminator 1, where it shows the battlefield and the giant robots that are still on treads. They're still it looks like that. Like the game, to get to the far-flung future, some of the spoilers is to fight wars, we're now using pretty much drones.
Yeah, we're using machines. Robots.
And they took a very Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans approach to it, where it's like, this drone can feed off of organic life in order to sustain itself.
That's not a problem at all. It's a big problem.
And then, of course, they lose control, and the only way to save humanity is to kind of,
hard reset.
Yeah, we need to build an ark, and we need to reset the planet. And then we need to have fail safes for in case the reset doesn't work.
Yeah, if the reset doesn't reset,
which
try to turn it off and turning it back on again.
I think that was, to me, one of the scariest points was we need to have a redundancy in case we go out, and then it's, hey, this still isn't hospitable. We need to reset and wait longer.
1000%.
Yeah, that was probably the scariest point in that entire game to me. What about your favorite machine?
I also like the tall neck.
The tall neck?
Yeah, it's giant and benign, and I loves it. I definitely thought what's the alligator-looking one?
Oh, the Snapmaw?
Thank you, Snapmaw. That one was really, really cool, and because when you get to your first body of water, we're and it was a pretty big lake. It wasn't ginormous, but it was sizable, and I mean, if we learned nothing as we traversed, I'm like, it'd be really cool. And it would suck really bad if something was in that water. Sure enough. I'm like, that's not a log. And I really liked it for that. It was flinging its antifreeze at you. It's little frost bombs at you.
Yeah, it was. I think it was more actually freeze, but you know.
But and just when it would thrash and stuff, I really appreciated just the distance that all the machines could get. But yeah, the Snapmaw was one of my favorites.
It was, and honestly, I think they said the new game they're supposed to have almost 48 different types of machines in it.
Of new machines, or
in
now
general,
new in total.
Okay. Because I think the Watcher, the Tall Neck are going to make comebacks.
Because I have on my phone right now there are 26 types in the current Horizon Zero Dawn, so they're essentially doubling it.
Yes,
that's fantastic. There's supposed to be a Cobra. I cannot wait for that Cobra. It's Mr. Pain in the ass. I'm
excited.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's going to be
scary.
A lot of what I think I'm very excited for when it comes to the new game. When you played Horizon Zero Dawn, there are points where you can go to different. When you unlock and you go on top of the Tall Neck, it'll give you what are known as sites. And these sites are if you go here, you can find snap malls. Over here is where a lurker will be. Over here is where a Thunderjaw or a Stormbird. Sawtooth. And you go there to scavenge for parts, get trophies, because of course you can use it for trade.
Yep.
Or to upgrade your weapons and armor, as well as
bragging rights with the lodge.
The lodge. Actually, do you mind if we talk about the lodge real quick?
Sure. What do you want to talk about?
So, in a lot of open world games, this just give you a little background, and some of the winners out there. In a lot of open world games, there becomes a point where it feels like this was padded for time. So we had to make it longer so you'd keep playing our game more. When you get to the Karja area, you learn about the old Sun King and the new Sun King. You learn about how the old one was a little mad and would kind of raid other villages.
Yeah, bloodlust.
And enslave people, and that's kind of why the Nora became so shut off, because they were like...
Gotta protect yourselves.
Yeah, and it definitely gives you more to like, oh, this is why the matriarchs behave this way. And it's also like, it wasn't that long ago. It was maybe 10, 15 years. And you get to what's known as the Hunter's Lodge. And the Hunter's Lodge is where you can compete in trials that are called, like, they're literally different hunting locations, where it'll be like, kill this creature this way. Take out, like, 10 grazers in 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah. And it's inside of 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Your time limit. Or, like, traverse this area in, like, 2 minutes was just, like, the set time. Like, traverse this area.
And you would get tokens. And, of course, when you can get there, when you go to the end with all the tokens, it'll be like, hey, we will give you, like, these tools that you can use in the future.
A new weapon.
And a lot of games do something like that. But it's just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, none of, like, this... Why...
In this game or, like, in general?
In general.
Okay, because you said it felt like padding.
Yeah, it'll be like, why am I hunting these rats? Like, whatever. In Horizon Zero Dawn, they would sit there and go, okay, there's a Thunderjaw here, but you also have 2 Sawtooths on the side. I want you to kill the Thunderjaw with the 2 Sawtooths. And so it would teach you how to be like, if you be stealthy and fast, go ahead and, like, you can jack one of the Sawtooths, make it your friend, and then jack the other one, and it'll fight the Thunderjaw for you, and you take it down, you do it in a certain amount of time, and you get, like, bonuses. I didn't do it in our initial playthrough. I did it on the current playthrough. Boy, does it break a lot of things, because it gives you some really good weapons.
Cool.
And then, 2, when you go into the Hunter's Lodge afterwards, people will actually acknowledge, like, oh, you got a full sun on, like,
lauded.
And it was like, there was just enough of a difference in there that I was like, oh, I'm glad I did this.
Chris can walk through with some swagger.
Yeah, all that, and it was... because you got to be in the Hunter's Lodge, and the Hunter's Lodge, you got to feel the pull of the politics of the Karja territory, where it was the old guy was in there, and he was like, I don't think women should be a part of this, and especially outsiders.
Yeah,
and then
exactly how it was.
When you get to the end of that quest line, he's kind of like, and you'll see that, I'm probably beating Snapmaw right now, or Red Maw right now. You get to the end of that quest line, he goes, you should have died with the rest of your family. We should have kept the old Sun King. The new Sun King is weak. And you're like, oh, there's some old prejudices in here that we need to tackle. You're not going to, because you're going to die, and you got to feel all of those prejudices and what's, like, at the heart of the city, and, like, the people battling it out in this one lodge.
Yeah, it's a microcosm.
And I really appreciated that.
No, that's nuance. That's good stuff.
And then all of the, like, the tests and tasks were very much, hey, I want you to use this tool. Because you can play through the game Aloy as an archer, and you get enough bows and arrows that almost any other piece of equipment is trivialized. But it'll be like, nope, use this rattler. I need you to use,
use your rope caster,
trip caster.
Yeah.
And so I actually really appreciated that, because when they're watching me fight Red Maw, about now, I'm using things that I never previously used, and that's I really appreciated those trials for being like, yes, use and do the thing.
Better. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad you explored that.
me too. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. As far as collectibles go, because the game does have some collectathon. Go ahead.
Oh, what's with the metal flowers?
I don't know. I was going to say that.
They're so rare.
And the metal flowers would have like a gamma or a nu or a mu. Like they had like alpha, and it wasn't just.
There's some sort of Greek letter attached to it, and it's one of like the metal flowers are like one of two like biomechanic plant life.
Yeah.
Because everything else is like, oh, that's an animal, or it's a dinosaur, but like it's a plant and it is metal. Like, why are you different? What purpose do you serve? But you need like to find like fucking 13 of them before you. I don't know.
I don't even think I deleted our original.
Yeah, we had like 2, maybe 4. We had less than 6.
By the end of it, I was pretty close.
Okay. You went and did it.
Yeah.
I didn't.
You didn't hang around for that.
No. Yeah, that was off-camera stuff.
It was, yes, and it has collectathon points, which for a lot of other games, like, once again, padding runtime.
Yeah.
But one of the parts I liked is we talked about the containers and Silence with the archaeologists, and they would find, like, literally it would be like, here's a vessel of the old world, and it looks like this cup. And then you can look at it, and it's really like a cup that says, like, World's Best Dad. And you're like, it was to a point where you're like, I can't believe that this is what's going to be,
around in 1,000 years.
And you're just sitting there looking at
that, like, wow!
Yeah. Like, Egyptians were the world's first, cat memes, but but, like, World's Best Dad mug is going to be, like, the
new artifact.
Yeah, the new artifact. I actually really, I really enjoyed that because to me it gave, it made the cataclysmic events and how far in the future feel more valid. It wasn't just like the old ones stopped existing. Well, then why do you know that they're old ones? Oh, because we find these mugs and we don't know what they mean.
Yeah, can't read English.
Yeah,
I heart New York.
I hope there's an I Heart San Francisco one in the next game, honestly.
That'd be pretty cool.
And you'll find braids. They have like dolls that are in there that the different creatures have, as well as this, as well as like trophies. So if you kill, say a Thunderjaw with its own weapon, it'll give you like its eye or its retina, I think is what it's called.
That's weird. Okay.
It's called a lens, but it's supposed to be like one of the eyes.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed that. I also like how when you have the focus on and you would walk up and find like a marking to tell you like, hey, go over here to go to the Sundom, go over here to go to, whatever outpost. You can tell it's like they can't read English, as you said, like the World's Best Dad mug. And it's like, we don't know what it means, but it's mystery. The focus, you see the scribbles, and then you see what it translates to in English. So it makes me think that Aloy can read that.
Probably.
Because of the focus.
Read and comprehend.
Yes. It's... You're right, by far one of my favorite games that we've ever played.
Yeah, and it's open world, which is not easy to create.
Yes.
And it's done so well. I think like my only criticisms of the game are that when you're doing some of these sun challenges, that you completed one of them in like legitimately like 15 seconds. And so you get like the blazing sun, a full blazing sun. But the guy just only has like the generic response of like, wow, you did a really great job.
On your first try.
Like, I'm a god. Like, fall down and worship me and admire, sing praises of my accomplishments. He's like, wow, great job. And I'm like, listen, I could use a little bit more variety. And then my only other criticism, and I've mentioned this before and like in previous like recordings when we're streaming, is that there were certain like go fetch or go find quests that you're crisscrossing the map And when you're finally done and you complete, you bring it back to the person who asked you to bring back the thing. They're like, thanks. And I'm like, that's it? I did not do all of that. Like, you can hear me get high pitch. I have strong feelings. I'm like, I did not just do that for your fucking gratitude. Like, where is my collectible? Where is my army? Where's my armor? Where's my cool toy? Where's my awesome weapon? Like,
give me something.
Yeah. Like, I did not just run all over this dang map for you to be like, wow, thank you so much, Aloy. You're the best. Like, like it broke my brain. That happened like 2 times. Because like the quest would take so long. That's all I'm gonna say. Those are my 2 criticisms.
Those are your 2 criticisms?
Yeah.
I was like, and like I said, I did try to keep us away from, the being so far in the future that it's kind of back to like, rudimentary sticks and stones.
Stonehenge all over again.
Yeah, is pretty much where it's at. Honestly, one of the other things that I really like about this, and I know I talk about, is expanded lore. I have read the comics. There's a new comic series that's coming out that I have the first issue down there, and I need to read the others. But I love that. And then there's actually a tabletop game.
That's right.
Horizon Zero Dawn. It's done by Steam. Hang on, let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. It is done by Steamforged Games. They are the same company that also made the Dark Souls board game or the Bloodborne board game. Mrs. Play and I have played that, and maybe sometime in the near future we will
dabble some more.
We'll dabble some more, and maybe we'll get a way to film it.
Yeah,
and
that was a lot of learning for me. Like, you're familiar with. I haven't played a lot of board games or a lot of games in my life. That's really the end of the sentence. I have Mr. Play to thank for all of my knowledge and my foraying.
You're welcome.
But you were very patient with like explaining the rules of the game to me, and we're like, you can do this, but then do that, and then you can move over here, and he was of course better than me. But like you have what I think I enjoyed the most about the game is that when you're trying to take down a machine, you have the opportunity with the other players. You can either work together, or you can like, no, I'm going to take it down solo and get the credit for it.
Yes.
And I liked that you had the opportunity to like cooperate or just like go off and do your own thing. So it's just,
it's very role playing light.
Yeah.
Which for you, I know, like,
thanks.
I'm not gonna sit here and be like, let's go play D&D together,
like,
because
I'm not gonna invest an entire character arc.
But
I'm gonna forget what I said from like 2 games ago. Like,
you're supposed to keep a notebook with you for that exact reason.
I take shit notes. For someone who forgets things if I don't write it down, you think I'd be better at it, but I'm not.
But yeah, I will. Yes. But so going forward for us, because we are getting to the end of our
hour
here.
Hour. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I'm tired.
Mrs. Play and I. So this is coming out on Saturday. February 5th.
November.
February 5th. Sorry. It'll be roughly about 2 weeks before Horizon Forbidden West comes out.
Can't wait. Are we going to do a hot take?
Mrs. Play and I will probably play the first 3 hours of the game on camera.
I'm making sad faces. I thought it was only going to be like an hour. It's an hour. We need 3 hours. I'm going to defer to your judgment.
I'm going to defer to the fact that it'll probably be opening day. I'll probably take off, and it'll be like, all right, let's turn it in.
Make a good point.
And then it'll be like
we'll be like, do whatever you say. But I'm just like 3 hours. But I want to be selfish and play the game for me. Sorry, guys, but me.
So we'll probably do about it'll be a stream, so that way everyone can kind of see it with us. But this is our first hour game where we like to keep it for ourselves. What I
share it with you because we like you.
What I will do though for everybody else is I will post the link to the concept of Horizon Zero Dawn through the stages in the links below. I will also put a link to Guerrilla Games is doing a Let's Play. They've been streaming Horizon Zero Dawn to get ready for the new one, and it's the lead designer, creative director, and I think like Aloy's come through.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and so that one's
it's a
really
homage.
Really cool. before we totally get out of here,
Okay.
did you see who one of the new actors were that was cast for Forbidden West?
No, I'm like, no.
Trinity from The Matrix.
Carrie-Anne Moss?
Yes.
No shit.
Yeah. Carrie-Anne Moss is she's apparently very excited for it.
Fuck yeah.
And she's
gonna be a bad guy.
Way to ruin that.
I'm betting.
Yeah, at the very.
I'm betting she's gonna be like one of the badass chieftains who don't fuck with me. I'm gonna cut off your head and not even slow down. She's gonna be that character.
Oh.
I know who I mean. I'll show you who I mean.
Okay.
She's gonna be a bad guy. She's gonna be so cool.
She's wearing a lot of white, so I don't know.
Death. The bringer of death.
Okay, no, fair enough. We are one of the only cultures that's black is the color of death.
Yeah.
Death. But yeah,
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Thank you for that fun fact.
I've been debating on sending you the Let's Play of Guerrilla games because that's pretty interesting too. But yeah, I will have those in here. Do you have any final thoughts?
If you haven't played the game, well, you should. And if you haven't pre-ordered the game, this is me telling you. This is your hint, your clue to go order that game.
Yep. It is now available on PC.
Yeah.
So I know
What's your guys' favorite machine? Tell us. Tell
please.
us. When you leave a review of how awesome our podcast is, tell us also your favorite machine. If you're watching this on YouTube, reply to the comments. We love hearing from you.
wrongbuttonpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to get in touch with us and voice your opinions on our opinions, that's perfectly fine there too.
We'll have a discussion.
I'll be more than happy to. But Mrs. Play, thank you so much for this journey from Mother's Embrace. I'm excited to go to the Forbidden West with you.
Same. I cannot wait. It's going to be another great adventure.
It's going to be a great adventure. Winners, look forward to our probably 3-part series on Horizon Forbidden West. As we do one of us just being like, hey, can you believe? And we're here, and then this is going on, and then when we get to the end of the game, doing a more recap of it.
Okay.
Remember,
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, remember that you're all winners out there. Keep it weird, and have a fantastic rest of your day, guys.
Bye.